Hello you beautiful lot and welcome back to You're Around It with me and Pat, where we take a closer look at the weekend's football just past now. The internet was down in our office this morning, so couldn't print off our scripts.
Yeah.
So, being the consummate professionals we are, we're delivering this off of our phones. Not on Tinder, not texting, well Pat might be. But we are delivering this off our phones as we said. Pat, please wow them with your professionalism and your opening gambit on our first winner, Real Madrid's Gareth Bale.
Yeah, well, you were getting in your suggestions all weekend, and we got this one from @Chubbs.
Chubbers!
Bringing back unhappy memories, that name. Now, Gareth Bale took just 10 minutes after his 3-month injury layoff to net a goal for Real Madrid. That gave them a 2-0 win over Espanyol. And he raced onto an Isco through ball, I think it was in the 83rd minute, and scored his 23rd goal in his last 28 La Liga appearances. That is incredible stuff. 6th La Liga goal in 12 appearances this season, so he's not quite as prolific as he was last year. But in his last 30 games, he's also got 8 assists. So this is a guy who is really on top of his game, despite the fact that he's recovering from an injury.
And playing on the wing. Numbers.
Sure, facts. Isco as well was very, very good. He was also kind of playing on the flank in the middle of that 4-3-3, right? And he's been involved in 5 goals in his last 4 starts after he racked up 2 assists in this game. So he's really staking his claim to that berth in midfield.
He certainly is, mate. And yeah, the away side were definitely pegged in, weren't they?
They were pegged.
They had 3 chances to Real Madrid's 13, and this was a slightly rotated Real Madrid squad.
Yeah.
It contained the likes of Kovacic, who was only making his 13th start, Pepe, who was only making his 9th start, Kiko Casillas in goal, Nacho at left back, didn't even know he was a Real Madrid player, and with 4 extremely winnable games coming up, starting with Valencia, Zidane has successfully rested his squad and looks to have...
Still got the 3 points.
Yeah, well, he's got Bale returning. Things are coming up trumps, coming up Millhouse, as they say in The Simpsons. But one man he couldn't rest was Toni Kroos. Oh, what a beautiful player to watch. The most touches in the game, the most possession in the game, the most successful passes in the game. He cannot rest him because he's a metronome and he's vital to Real Madrid, isn't he? They had 62% possession against Espanyol, and this guy was central to it. He was an absolute baller. And another guy who is also staking his claim, a lot of stakes going on in today's Euro roundup, is Alvaro Morata. He scored his 7th goal in just as many starts, sorry. He's made 8 substitute appearances as well, but he's averaging a goal every 104 minutes, whereas someone like Ronaldo this season is averaging a goal every 106 minutes.
Pathetic.
So, pathetic. Alvaro Morata is punching well above his weight at the minute, especially, you know, because he's in and out of the team, lacking that consistency. But with Sevilla and Barca both winning, they keep maintain the pace, don't they?
Yeah.
But it's Bale's return, one Galactico too far. Are they in a different galaxy? Far, far away from the competition? Let us know in the comments below.
Our first loser is Super Mario Balotelli. Oh, dearie me, what happened to him this week?
Well, he was sent off yet again, mate.
Oh.
Surprise, surprise. As Nice beat Lorient 1-0 away from home thanks to a Cyprien goal in the 15th minute. Now, Lorient actually outshot Nice 16-5, but couldn't force a breakthrough despite Balotelli being sent off in just the 68th minute. Now, he had a minor tussle with the defender, got himself into a little bit of trouble, a little bit of hot water, but then said something to the referee, apparently in English. If there's any good lip readers out there who watch League One, let us know what he said in the comments below. But ignoring the red, Mario's performance was pretty woeful all around. In 68 minutes, Pato, he had just 7 touches of the ball.
Not great.
Wowzer. So, and L'Equipe subsequently gave him a 1 out of 10, a rating that only 11 players since 1998 have received.
Wow.
So the whole country's on his back now as a result of this game, and well, as a result of his 3rd red card and general ill discipline throughout the season.
Yeah, look, Mario, say what you like about him. He's an entertainer, isn't he? He's played 1,052 minutes in Ligue 1 this season. He's got 9 goals in that time, 3 yellow cards, 3 red cards. So that's entertainment. Nobody in Europe's top 5 leagues has more red cards than Mario Balotelli. There are a couple of others who've got 3, but nobody has more. And look, it's unsurprising because he's committing 2.7 fouls a game.
Wow.
That's a lot of fouls, especially for a centre-forward who technically doesn't need to tackle people. What is he doing?
Obviously, technically can't.
Well, yeah, he's got more fouls than anyone in the Premier League or Serie A. He also his rate of 2.7 fouls a game is only exceeded by 5 players in Europe's top 5 leagues.
If you can name those 5 players, naked Snapchats from Pat. Yeah,
Stop it. You're always doing this, mate. I've used them all up. Unbelievable. Anyway, the question is he really worth the trouble? He's not young anymore, he's 26 years old. And if you look at the rest of Nice's squad, they've got Alassane Plea, who's 3 years younger than Balotelli. He scored 2 goals more than Balotelli in Ligue 1. He's got 11. He's also got 2 assists where Balotelli has 0, and he doesn't have any red cards. So you start to wonder, can we just ship him out? Is it really worth the effort to go through all this? And then every season we have to deal with the ban. But he's presumably on pretty decent wages as well. I think that he might be giving up his last chance, and it's a pity because he's clearly incredibly talented. But that's what we want to ask you. Does Balotelli deserve another chance at Nice? And if not, where could he go? Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Our next winner comes from Omar, who thinks Kevin Gameiro should be on our winners list, and evidently, we agree.
Yeah, well, he came off the bench with the score tied at 1-1 between Atletico Madrid and Sporting Gijón, who, by the way, are down in the relegation zone. He had half an hour to make the difference, and boy, did he. In the 80th minute, he scored a goal to put them ahead. By the 85th minute, he had a hat-trick. It's actually officially the fastest hat-trick in La Liga history. Now, apparently there are some quick ones in the past. Apparently Bebeto scored a hat-trick in 3 minutes back in '95, but apparently they didn't officially time it. So this is now officially the fastest hat-trick.
Official.
Yeah. 4 minutes 43 seconds to complete it. That's 4 seconds quicker than David Villa's, which was previously the fastest one for Valencia against Athletic back in 2006. It's amazing that Gameiro got 3 goals because he actually completed just 2 passes in his 31 minutes on the pitch. He also made a tackle and completed a take-on though, so an interestingly rounded performance from the little man.
Yes, and Atleti will be glad of the win, won't they? Because it means they maintain pace with Barcelona and Sevilla. As we said, they both win. It leaves them 3 points off Barca, 4 points off Sevilla. But they did struggle at first with 18th place Sporting, mustering 7 shots in the opening 45 minutes. That's a league high for them this season, and this is not something we associate with Atletico Madrid, is it? Conceding easy shots, mate. Last season, they were closing down attackers like the Tories are closing down, you know, the NHS. Cheers, Theresa May.
Save the NHS.
Topical banter. Save the NHS. Get that in the comments below. In austerity, Tories, whatever. Yannick Ferrer-Carrasco opened the scoring just 13 seconds after the start.
Oh my
quickest
God.
La Liga goal from the reset since 2009. Facts. So the Sporting equalised 3 minutes later, which put a bit of a dampener on that, didn't it? But yeah, Atletico have now conceded 19 league goals in 23 games, having only conceded 18 for the entirety of last season. Now, they are playing a bit more of an attacking formation, aren't they, this season?
Yeah.
With Carrasco out wide. But what do you think it's down to, apart from that?
Well, I think you're right.
Defense?
Like they use it. Well, they are getting older, aren't they? I mean, and people like Lucas Hernandez and Jimenez may not be quite ready to kind of take over for the old guard yet. But also last season they had those central midfielders in wide roles, Koke and Saul. And so that meant that you kind of had this band of 4 guys who could all do everything in midfield. And now with people like Correa getting some games, Carrasco, Gaitan to an extent, they are just going all out. And they have scored more goals as a result, but it doesn't seem to have powered them to the title the way they hoped.
Especially in the opening parts of the season, they were scoring.
Oh, they couldn't stop scoring.
Yeah. But with departures on the horizon, maybe Griezmann, maybe Simeone, is the golden age for Atletico Madrid coming to an end? You let us know in the comments below. Yes, you.
Our next losers are Saint-Etienne.
Oh,
go on.
They were well and truly murdered, Pato. And it could have been Genoa this week, they were thumped 5-0 by Pescara. Only Pescara's 2nd win of this Serie A season. But we plumped on Saint-Etienne because they're in the race for those Champions League places, aren't they? Just behind Lyon. And they lost 2-1 away to Montpellier at the Stade de la Mosson. Now that's 2 losses in a week after being thumped 3-0 at Old Trafford by Manchester United. But here they did at least open the goal scoring Pato with winger Paquet grabbing his 4th in 18 starts. 18th starts in 18 starts. So not bad form from him. But more amazingly, Saint-Etienne have now scored more goals in the first half in 2017 than they did in the entirety of 2016.
Wow.
Which might go some way as to explaining why they only average under 1 goal a game, and they're still 4th. Ultimately, Montpellier did deserve the victory. They carved out 10 more opportunities than Saint-Etienne, although they did both test the keeper 4 times each side. So, Yeah, mixed bag.
Well, it was made easier for Montpellier, wasn't it, by that dismissal for Jorginho, which was early in the second half. But also Saint-Etienne liked to build down the wings, you know, through Roux and Saive. And Montpellier were happy to let them do that, and they just busted straight through the centre. Cessignon and Scree were battering Rams. They completed 7 dribbles, 5 tackles, 5 aerial duels between them in that 4-2-3-1, and the Greens just simply could not get out. But despite that kind of wildly inconsistent form, they're going up and down this season, Saint-Etienne are still in 5th on 39 points. They're only 4 behind Lyon, so they've still got a shot at that Champions League spot. But with the strength of performances like this, they're going to have to improve if they want to make it. And if they make it, not to get humiliated.
Come on the Wolves, up your game, let's move on. Staying in France, our final winners are PSG, who did draw 0-0 with Toulouse. But you know the result we're going to talk about is that 4-0 destruction of Barcelona. What a fascinating game, Pato. Break it down for me.
Well, before we get to that, let's talk about Ligue 1 a little bit. Yes, they did draw against Toulouse, but they're now up to 2nd on goal difference. They've overtaken Nice. And, of course, Monaco drew against Bastia as well. So this draw hasn't really hurt them in their race for the title, though it will be disappointing. But yeah, the 4-0 thumping of Barcelona in midweek, it really was. I haven't seen Barcelona taken apart like that for a while. Not maybe since they lost 3-1 to Ancelotti's team that just won La Decima, or maybe even back in 2013 when they lost 7-0 on aggregate to Bayern. That's how good it was. I mean, PSG in the first half, 15 shots, Barca had 2. PSG had 9 on target, Barca had 1. That is unbelievable. Now, goals, there was a brace for birthday boy Angel Di Maria. It was his birthday on the night. Got himself a free kick and a lovely curler from outside the box. Meunier, a great goal. Phenomenal pass from Verratti for it. And, of course, Cavani tops it off at the end with a little assist from Meunier. A fantastic run. He rinsed Neymar out and then ran 40 yards up the field and slipped it in perfect.
Unorthodox right back, isn't he?
He's a big guy, yeah.
Shit house.
Yeah. But this game was won and lost in midfield.
Absolutely.
And Barcelona's 3-man midfield was atrocious on the night. Gomez, Busquets, Iniesta. They managed 0 chances created. 4 tackles, 5 interceptions. Not ideal. But then you look at PSG's. Now Rabiot, Verratti and Matuidi between them. 5 chances created, 11 tackles, 7 interceptions. All action midfield. They were all fantastic. And you know what? When I looked at Twitter after the game, I swear that the world was evenly split about who they thought had been the best of those 3. And I know who you think it was.
All 3 were immense. I think Rabiot,
yeah.
Purely, I mean, Verratti was playing extremely well, but he came off after, what, 70, didn't he? But Rabiot, the cojones on him for that 2nd or 3rd goal, was it maybe? To pick up the ball from 20 yards under pressure from 2 Barcelona players and just spray it to, I think it was Matuidi, who took a really nice touch. Again, Matuidi, I thought his being deployed that far up the pitch was a really interesting tactic from Unai Emery, because obviously we associate him with being a defensive midfielder in a 4-2-3-1 like Krychowiak, but he was so far up the pitch just pressing and pressing, not giving Busquets any time to start the attacks on the ball. Obviously Piqué likes to spray balls, you know, we know he completes 5 or 6 long balls a game. He was not doing that this game because they just weren't giving them any time whatsoever. After that, after Barcelona's first third, they kind of let them have it deep, didn't they? But just, yeah, as you say, the midfield was just génial, formidable, magnifique, all of the above. And the wide players were a real problem for Barcelona to run the mate. Julian Draxler took 11 touches in the Barcelona box. That is a season high. By comparison, Messi had 0 touches in the PSG box and only had 1 shot.
And it was about 30 yards outside the box, and it got blocked.
And how many times was he dispossessed?
A lot.
He was robbed time and time again. Barcelona now face an uphill struggle. That's a slight understatement. A 4-0 deficit has never been overturned at this stage in the Champions League. And while this is only Unai Emery's 2nd win over Barcelona, he was brought in to do this, wasn't he? They are showing a real prowess in European competition this season. Obviously, a bit of a dodgy draw against Ludogorets, wasn't it? Only just won that game, but still, apart from that, they've been very impressive. Should have battered you guys at home, Arsenal. How you got away with the draw was unbelievable. But how far do you think PSG can go in the competition this season, guys? Let us know in the comments, just for a change.
Our final losers are Wolfsburg, who lost 3-0 to Borussia Dortmund in what was the biggest loss of this round of Bundesliga fixtures.
It certainly was, mate, and you discussed Dortmund's triumph, didn't you, over on FD, but we're going to discuss Wolfsburg's perilous position here on EFD. Now, this loss leaves them 3 points off the playoff places. and 4 points off automatic relegation. So Die Wolf are in a terrible, terrible position. Now Dortmund had a massive 24 shots this game. That's 10 above their average. They even had 10 coming on target. So Wolfsburg were completely inept in that three-man defence just could not handle the second half onslaught. Even defenders Mark Bartra and Piszczek for Dortmund had 3 shots apiece. That's taking the piss. And their average position was on the halfway line. That is the same as Wolfsburg midfield, which just shows you how much Dortmund pressed Wolfsburg into submission, really. And they couldn't get near them. This stat, they only made 8 tackles all night, Wolfsburg. Half of what they normally produce in any standard Bundesliga game. And by comparison, Dortmund made 21 as a unit who had more possession and won 3-0. This was a mauling, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. And they made weird choices as well. Like Valerian Ismail, like he plays this 3-1-4-2 formation every now and then, like when he wants to change it up from the 4-2-3-1. But they've conceded 14 goals in the 7 games they've used it. They've lost 4 of those. So perhaps he needs to get rid of this system. And it could have been a lot worse. Benaglio in the Wolfsburg goal made 8 saves on the night. That's a huge number. By comparison, Berkey made 3. And it was a day to forget for Bruma as well. He was dispossessed twice. He scored an own goal and he just got scored again and again. They couldn't handle Ousmane Dembele. He was chopping people down. I think that Bruma could have had a red card, frankly. Dembele got that little header, stooping header into the ground, bounced over the keeper. Couldn't do a lot about that. He's now been involved in 19 goals in his last 31 appearances, Ousmane Dembele. And we talk about him a little bit more on FD. What an outstanding young talent he is. Seriously, the kid is taking the piss. But look, Borussia Dortmund got an excellent win and they're still not competing for the title. They're still behind Leipzig and they're still behind Bayern Munich. So what we want to know from you is, should Thomas Tuchel, who's reportedly a target for Arsenal to take over from Arsene Wenger, should he leave Dortmund and head over to London? Would he be a good manager for the Gunners? Let us know in the poll right up there.
Nearly time to wrap it up, guys, but we have a little bit of time left for some shout-outs. John M thinks Shinoa should have been in our losers. Rujdija Imamovic thinks that Dzeko should have been in our winners. Obviously got a hat-trick in the Europa League as well, didn't he? And again scored in Serie A. Omar thinks that Lincoln City should have been our winners. Well done the Imps on their FA Cup upset. And Gabriel Frascaria thinks Diabala should have been in our winners. But I do believe you discussed it.
Yeah, if you want to hear a little bit about the little Argentinian, head over to Football Daily and Winners and Losers. So that's all for this week's episode of Euro Roundup. Now, if you enjoyed this, don't forget to check out Stat Wars from Saturday. It's an absolute corker. And as ever, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.